Martez Poindexter.
Welcome to Gospel Diaries. Listen, we have a treat in store for you. You see this fine young man right here? I know you see him every Sunday or every video, or even if you're in Chicago and get a chance to actually witness the Warriors in person. And I'm talking about none other than the choir director, Martez Poindexter. How are you doing?
I'm well. How about yourself?
Man, I'm blessed and favored by the best. Listen, everybody see you up there. Listen, man, you have so much control. Your dynamics are powerful. It is just an amazing sight I'm serious to watch you direct.
So I came to Cosmopolitan Church of Prayer. I believe I was about 21 or 22.
Okay.
I was a director at my former church for a couple of years as a teenager. Mm-hmm. So I did have experience when I came, but I just joined the church just because of my love for the church and the ministry, Dr. Hayes and the choir. Mm-hmm. So when I came, I didn't really tell anyone that I was a choir director or anything like that. But Dr. Hayes, one day, he said, "You direct, don't you?" "Yes, sir. Yes, sir." And so later on, they brought me on as an assistant to
And what year was that? Do you remember?
So I joined the church in 1997.
Okay.
It was at the watch meeting. So January 1st, 1997 is my anniversary.
Really?
Yes, sir. Okay. When I joined the church, they had just recorded Shout to Your Walls.
Just recorded Shout to Your Walls.
Shout to Your Walls.
So that means that you had to learn that material.
I did. And what's ironic is I had made so many recordings, the Reach Up and some of the other recordings. I was always a big fan. And so I would always come to the recordings. And then, ironically, when I joined the church, they recorded Shout to Your Walls, Far Down. That recording I did not make.
When were you introduced to the church?
I was introduced to the church, I would say I was about 16 years old, and I was singing with a group, Bishop Troy Garner, well, at that time, Reverend Troy Garner.
What?
Had a community choir called the Voices of Triumph. And we had a singing engagement this particular Sunday, and he always would take a lot of the members home after an engagement. So I was the last one in the car. And so he says, "You know what, we should go by Cosmo." And I said, "Cosmopolitan? Sure." I'm down, let's go. And so we went to 6850. And when the doors opened up, it was like heaven opened up to me. I was such a big fan of the ministry, yeah.
I would have never known.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
That's amazing. Now, Bishop was over, I think, the Corliss High School. Now, is that how you?
Yes, sir. I went to Corliss.
Small world.
Yes, sir. Yes,
wow.
Sir. And I sang the gospel choir.
Adrian B. King was there too,
yes,
right?
Sir. Yes,
Who
sir.
else was there?
He was our musician. We did have quite a few musicians at the time. I know Adrian is the one that really kind of, I really remember. For real.
Wow, that is amazing. So you remember, so were you, during the time when Mama Curtis was at Hyde Park, were you all like, I
I would say,
don't want to use the word
yeah,
rivalry, but-
yeah. We did have a little slight rivalry.
Wow,
Yeah.
okay. All right, so getting back to Cosmopolitan, that is amazing history. Wow.
Yes,
I'm
sir.
so glad we was able to capture that. So, who were some of your favorite leads? Who were some of the faces that you wanted to see when you got to Cosmopolitan?
Well, of course. Of course.
Uh-huh.
Of course. The Empress herself,
Okay.
Diane Williams, and then Leroy Patton.
Yes.
And Michelle Brown,
Mm-hmm.
Sharon Childs. Yeah. I was just a fan of everybody.
That's Sharon Child.
Mm-hmm.
We really don't really talk about her as much as we should, but she was a very intricate piece
Absolutely.
to the dynasty. So let's talk about some of the experiences that you remember about the late great Sharon Childs.
So I always remembered that the lady could just stand still and wreck a house. That was her ministry.
Yeah.
Just stand still. She didn't do a lot of moving around and jumping and bumping and all of that. But the lady could just sing. Just flat-foot sing.
Wow.
Absolutely.
Wow, thanks for sharing that. All right, so now we must get back to current times. So you have to talk about or share with us as much as you can how the GOAT himself, Ali Cathay, how did he kind of nourish or help you to better hone your craft of choir director? Because I'm almost sure he had to have been very instrumental in that.
Absolutely. So coming from another ministry, you have your own style, you have your own way of doing things. And when I did get the opportunity to direct for Cosmopolitan, I would say it didn't go so well.
Uh-oh.
Only because I had my own way. I
Okay.
had my own style. But this choir is used to a certain direction or a certain style. And so I came out and I was doing my thing, and they were looking at me like, what is he doing? Somebody come get him. Get him quickly.
Okay.
So I had to sit back. I had to step back and learn what was going on in this house. And so I studied him. And then, so what I did when I did get the other opportunity, I gave them a lot of Alan Cathay.
Okay.
And then I slowly brought me into it.
You know, and it's always in order to be in order. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
And a lot of times we miss that dynamic, that there is a proper way. There's a thing, the word etiquette is in the dictionary for a reason, because there is a profound meaning or definition for that word. So I'm so appreciative that you shared that story, because perhaps that may help someone understand the relevancy of etiquette. So
Have all the talent in the world, and that may work for another house.
Yeah.
Let's say that.
Yeah.
But if you go into an established house, then you have to, follow protocol.
Okay. For a recording.
A lot of preparation goes into a recording. Well, first of all, you have to learn your music, which, and in the newer generation of choirs, you have to. I had to learn this: is follow patterns. I'm not really good with that, but I'm getting better. There's a certain pattern. Musicians, they want to do this or whatever, and that's fine. But so I had to kind of learn that as well. But just learn patterns. But it's a lot of learning. It's a lot of trial and error as well. And then you got to dedicate yourself to the music.
Well, that a lot of people, they ask a lot, because Cosmopolitan, you all have, you all's repertoire is so massive that it would take years to really, to hit on the dynamics of each song that you all have recorded. But then again, when one comes to the Cosmopolitan or watch a broadcast, sometimes it's not the recorded music that you all perform, and it's so. Let's talk about the song selection.
I would say it is good to be well-rounded.
Yeah.
I would say, and you have to serve everybody.
Yes.
So you have to, and you don't have to do it. You can still keep your style.
Yes.
Of singing and performing, and still be relevant or current with what's going on today. So that's what we try to do. We try to be well-rounded, well-balanced, and that's what I like about Pastor Smith.
Yes.
Who is for what's going on today. He loves the foundation of the ministry, but he does try to move us forward, just so that we can stay calm.
And speaking of Reverend Darrell Smith, let's talk about how you watched him come from a choir member, okay? And of course, we've all heard his testimony.
Yes, sir.
Ain't God good?
He is.
Thank you for coming. Thank you for being a part of my celebration while I'm still here. Gus family, my testimony is, some of y'all don't know, but I used to date crack cocaine. Hallelujah. He was my friend. And it was not because my upbringing was wrong. It was because of wrong association. I was warned, but I kept on pushing, trying to be accepted. It messed with me for some 15 years. But I went to a meeting one night, and my heart wasn't right. The lady was calling on Jesus, and I had already known him. But she said, you really don't believe that he will knock you out. I took 3 steps, and next thing I knew, I was up here, looking.
I was at the record. Man, see, I don't know why this is about to go another level. I had told my friend, I said, Pastor Smith has said something that really resonated with me. He had got up. He said, I don't need no music. And then he did the dance thing. That's why I did that when I went down there. And he said, I don't care. He said, sometimes I get out of my bed and right to the bed. He said, because I was homeless before. I had to learn that sometimes we so critical when we come to church. You don't know what the person sitting beside
That's
you
true.
is going through.
Absolutely.
Bishop Noel Jones said one time, he said, you want to turn your nose up at people, you don't know what bridge they slept
Absolutely.
slept under that night. You know what I mean?
Absolutely.
My
Absolutely.
God, I'm sorry.
No, you're fine. No.
Okay.
And that is
That
so
hit
true.
me.
You never know what a person has been through. When we get to church, we try to polish up for the sake of the people or the look of things. But, you know, through the week, you never know what somebody is going through or what they've been through. So when somebody jumps up or yells out or runs or do anything, you never know. That might be what they need. That might be what they need to take them through the week. All right.
And speaking of that, it's time. I'm telling you, I'm probably not the only one, but we can watch you direct, and we can pull strength from
wow.
that. So we really can. I mean, you are just totally. It's a joy to watch
Thank
you.
you. Appreciate that. And Pastor and I believe are kindred spirits because we stood next to each other for so long. And so we kind of just connect, even in the choir, when he was just a choir member, we connected on the vibes. We had the same vibes. So when we're on, now we've come from the choir stand out into the pulpit area.
Okay.
So we're the same. We're the same out here as well. So we have the same energy. His energy is my energy. So it's just always higher, higher, higher. Let's go higher.
And last but not least, before we cut up out of here, we got to pay homage to the assistant pastor as well. Give some type of fond memory or experience from Reverend Charlie.
Oh, Reverend Charlie. What can I say about Reverend Charlie? Well, when I came, I would say he was a little dyke.
Okay.
Always mimicking the choir, would always sit on the front row in the audience, and whatever the choir was doing, he would get into it just as well. So he grew up, raised up under all of this anointing. So he is the same now. He's a wonderful guy.
Yes,
and he
yes.
does. He wears so many hats in the ministry.
Yeah.
But we wouldn't trade him.
And you know, we must say this. You let me know, but don't he sound just like Father Hayes?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yes, he
it's almost
does.
like-
And yeah.
it's
And
almost
the
incredible.
singing, all of the all of that is all Dr. Hayes.
Yeah. All right, you guys. I pray to God that you have enjoyed this episode. And as I say always, love on someone and you will change a life. You never know, that smile that you wear, you know, it may be the exact ingredient that someone needs to put down the gun and say, you know what, I'm going to live another day.
Absolutely.
So be courteous and be kind and remember to always smile and love on someone because you're going to change somebody's life. All right, see y'all later. Go ahead.
So in 1984, I used to be a member of the Soul Children of Chicago under Dr. Walt Whitman. I had served with them maybe 4 years or so before moving on to other endeavors.